concentration, the pesticides, numerous pesticides they are spraying on the crop plants, different crop plants. So knowingly or unknowingly, we are intaking of the food material, these substances, these chemical substances through biological magnification or biomagnification process. The biomagnification process is the continuation process. Whenever we are using these chemicals or pesticides, the pesticides are definitely, they are cycling and we reached our human or animal stomach. So that is very, very hazardous situation, very dangerous situation we are facing. That's why the organic manure and organic farming is very essential nowadays. We are already seeing about the Bhishma movie, that is related to organic farming, and Ramdev Baba, Patanjali, these are the related to organic farming. Okay, whenever you are free, you ask Google Mata. Google Mata is explain how organic farming is very essential nowadays. Then what are the types of the biofertilizers? The biofertilizers may be bacterial, may be fungal, algal, then aquatic fern also used as a biofertilizers, and earthworms also. Already earlier, previous slide we explained about the organic manure, organic fertilizers. That vermicompost. The vermicompost also came over from earthworms. So here the bacterium is the rhizobium or azotobacter or azospirilla or PSM. So these are related to bacteria, and PSM related to fungal, and algal related to cyanobacteria, blue-green algae. Then azolla fern related to azolla. Azolla is a aquatic fern. Azolla anabini. Azolla is a fern plant, pteridophytic plants. These plants grown on the surface of the aquatic environment, on surface of the freshwater environment. Even though VAM fungi, vascular, herbascular, mycorrhizal fungi. So these fungi also used as a biofertilizers. SM fungi and VAM fungi. So this is SM fungi. This is SM fungi and this is VAM fungi, vascular, herbascular, mycorrhizal fungi. So here some of the example related to bacteria or fungi or whatever it may be. So bacteria. So bacteria is used as a symbiotic nitrogen fixers, or they are grown free living nitrogen fixers. The best example for symbiotic nitrogen fixers are Rhizobium, Azospirillum. These are the bacterium related to symbiotic nitrogen fixers. So the biological nitrogen fixation or symbiotic nitrogen fixation we can also call it diazotrophy. So diazotrophy is also called as biological nitrogen fixation. This term has given by Gustafsson. Then free living nitrogen fixers. These free living nitrogen fixers are azotobacters and Klebsiella. They are independently grown on the external environment, whether the soil or whether the moisture environment, whatever it may be, but without associate with living or other organism. They are independently developed or grown in the external environment. They are Azotobacter and Klebsiella. So these are the free living nitrogen fixers. And what are the algal biofertilizers? Mainly algal biofertilizers related only cyanobacteria members only, blue-green algae only. Remaining alga are belongs to eukaryotic living organism. My dear friends, remember, eukaryotic living organism, whether the higher plants or lower plants, even though alga is not able to fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. Why? Because these organism does not contain the mechanism of the atmospheric nitrogen fixation into the organism or other organism or into the soil. The biological nitrogen fixation, or even though the nitrogen fixation mechanism is only consists the prokaryotic living organism, that is bacteria and cyanobacteria only. So remaining does not contain any nitrogen fixation mechanism, that is NIF genes and nitrogenase enzyme. So nitrogenase enzyme is induced by NIF genes, nitrogen fixation genes. I will write here. Okay, I will show next slide. So these algal biofertilizers only cyanobacteria, that is BGA, blue-green alga. So this blue-green alga in association with azolla, that is Azolla anabinae. The blue-green algae associated with are they are lived like endophytes. The endophytes in Anthoceras. Nostoc is lived as an endophytic algae in Anthoceras thallus. And also these Nostoc is also this Anabina also associated with Cycadaceae members. These Anabina blue-green alga is able to grow in the roots associated with roots of the Cycadaceae members. Cycas. Are you heard about the term cycas? The cycas plant? Cycas. So cycas plants belongs to gymnosperms, especially the class Cycadaceae. Cycadaceae family. The Cycadaceae plant, that is Cycas beddomi, Cycas sarcinalis, Cycas revoluta. These are the species related to Cycas. The Cycas roots, some of the roots are there, looks like a finger-like structures, finger-like aperture we are observed. Thus, that roots we can call as coralloid roots. The coralloid roots contain this Anabina. So that Anabina species we can call as Anabina cycadacearum. So Anabina cycadacearum is able to grow within the roots of the Cycas plants. My dear friends, remember in the entire plant world, the highest plants, the largest plants and the highest plants, height of the plants are related to gymnosperms, that is Sequoia species, especially Sequoia sempervirens and Sequoia gigantea. These are the trees are now alive in California of North America. The California related to Hollywood films, the Kodak Theater and some of the Oscar awards, they are present on the Kodak Theater of the California city. This California is now, whenever you visit the largest tree of the entire plant kingdom, entire plant world, that is Sequoia species, Sequoia sempervirens and Sequoia gigantea. So the Cycas species, the Sequoia species roots, special type of roots, they contain this Anabina species. The Anabina species we can call as Anabina cycadaceae. This Anabina roots, associated with the roots we can call as coralloid roots. So coralloid roots associated with Anabina. And the Nostoc is able to grow the endophytic of Bryophyta plants, that is Anthoceras. Anthoceras thallus contain these Nostoc filaments. Then Oscillatoria. Oscillatoria is also another living organism related to blue-green alga. These three is able to fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So these are the algal biofertilizers used as a biofertilizer. So Anabina, Nostoc, Oscillatoria directly used as a biofertilizer. Is it right or not? So why? Because they are able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil or atmospheric nitrogen into the related to host organism. Then the other point is phosphate solubilizing bacteria, that is PSM. That is a PSM fungi, the PSM. Some of the other bacteria like Pseudomonas and Bacillus megatherium, these are the bacteria is also solubilizing the nutrients, especially macronutrients or phosphate. The phosphorus is solubilizing bacteria. So whenever the phosphate is solubilizing state, the plants is able to absorb these phosphates very rapidly. So that is caused by Pseudomonas and Bacillus megatherium. That's why these Pseudomonas and Bacillus megatherium used as a biofertilizers. Then other fungal biofertilizers are VAM, vascular herbovascular mycorrhizal fungi. Along with this VAM, the SM fungi is also here, my dear friends. SM. So these biofertilizers are fungal biofertilizers are divided into SM fungi and VAM fungi. SM fungi and VAM fungi. SM and VAM. SM means sheathing mycorrhizal fungi. Sheathing mycorrhizal fungi, sheathing mycorrhiza. And VAM means, I will write here from vesicular. Vascular, herbasicular, mycorrhizal fungi, mycorrhizal fungi. So VAM fungi. So these are associated with, my dear friends, these are associated with the higher plant roots, my dear friends. That's why we can call as mycorrhiza. What is mycorrhiza? Rhizoid means root atmosphere. The atmosphere, the surface of the roots or internal parts of the roots. The roots are associated with, this fungi are associated with the roots, we can call as mycorrhiza. Myca, the study of fungi we can call as mycology, you know. So mycorrhiza. So higher plants are associated with this fungi. That's why this association we can call as mycorrhiza. This mycorrhiza is also, for example, best example for symbiosis, my dear friends. Symbiotic living type. This symbiosis, mycorrhiza, they are divided into SM fungi and VAM fungi. SM fungi. For example, this is the root, you know. This is the root of the plants. Okay. This is the root of the plants. So these roots contain number of lateral roots. Along with this, each lateral roots also, some of the hair-like structures you observed on this root, my dear friends. The hair-like structure we can call as, we can call as root hairs. Amma, are you able to follow my class? Are you able to follow?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
So the hair-like structure we can call as root hair. So my dear friends, in the part of the root, which part is able to absorb the water? Root hairs. So my dear friends, whenever the SM fungi is associated with mycorrhiza, SM fungi is associated with mycorrhiza. This mycorrhiza is surrounded on the surface of this SM fungi is associated with the surface of the root, my dear friends. Whenever this SM fungi is associated with root, then the root hairs is eliminated from the lateral roots, and even though the taproot and the primary root or the main root. Okay, so whenever the SM fungi is associated with root, which is eliminated from roots, my dear friends? Root hairs. So SM fungi, what is the main function of this SM fungi? Number one, absorption of the water from the soil, and also this SM fungi is useful for nitrogen and phosphorus and sulfur. These are the major nutrients, you know, macronutrients. These macro elements or macronutrients is insoluble in nature. Whenever this SM fungi is associated with roots, these nitrogen and phosphorus, sulfur is insoluble nature is converted into soluble nature. So the soluble nature of these nutrients is very able to very easily absorbed by the plants. Is it right? So from insoluble to soluble by the sheathing mycorrhizal fungi. So these SM fungi is surrounded on the surface of the root. So whenever we are observed whether the mycorrhiza is SM fungi or VAM fungi, very easily identify with our naked eye. Whenever the surface is surrounded on this rhizosphere is surrounded by the SM fungi, we are very easily identify there are no root hairs present on the surface of the lateral roots and surface of the main root system. Okay, is it right? So the main function is SM fungi is absorb the water from the external environment in the soil, and also the soluble, the nutrients is going to insoluble, phosphorus insoluble, sulfur is going to insoluble in nature. Then these soluble nutrients is very easily absorbed by this SM fungi. Okay, then another one is worm fungi. Another one is worm fungi. Okay, I will explain the next slide. Okay, then this is what is worm? What is worm? Vesicular, herbaceous, mycorrhizal fungi. So SM is only, we are absorbed only external environment of the root. Then worm is herbaceous. They are produced herbaceous and vesicles inside the root system. Inside the root system, inside the root, whether the cortex, whether the even the xylem, related to xylem, these worm fungi is produced or inserted into the internal structure of this root, and produce the vesicle structures and herbaceous structures inside the root system. Okay, I will show the next slide, Amma. Okay, is it clear? We will move for next slide.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Okay. Very good. Very good, my dear friends. Okay. Then earthworms. Are you ever seen earthworms, Amma?
Yes,
In
sir.
the naturally,
Yes, sir.
naturally, not in Google, not in cinema. Naturally, whenever you are observed the earthworms on this in the soil is very rare, Amma, because our soil is filled with chemical, filled with organic, filled with non-organic materials, and filled with artificial chemicals. That's why these earthworms is going to disappear from the natural soil. But in organic farming, we are observed plenty of the earthworms within the soil, and the earth is able to very easily grow the plants by the root respiration. Very easily they are absorb the gases, useful gases from the atmosphere, and root is also able to grow very rapidly, and the plants also giving yield so much better compared to inorganic farming or artificial used by the artificial fertilizers and artificial chemicals. So that's why earthworms is used as a biofertilizers without using any chemicals, without using any external fertilizers. The earthworms is also able to give a usable soil for the plants. Then these biofertilizers are came over from microbes. So they are living cells, whether the single unicellular organism or multicellular organism like blue-green algae. Here, these unicellular bacteria or biofertilizers, microbes, contain a special type of genes we can call as NIF genes. What is NIF, Amma? What is NIF? NIF genes. What is NIF? NIF means nitrogen fixation genes. NIF means nitrogen fixation genes. These nitrogen fixation genes, which make them capable of fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So whenever this NIF gene mechanism is available within the microbes, then automatically nitrogen is always in active mode. Okay, active mode. So these nitrogen fixing bacteria work under two conditions. Number one, symbiotically. Number two, asymbiotic or non-symbiotic. Non-symbiotic means the bacteria or microbes can grow independently, are free living bacteria in the external environment. Is it right? In symbiotic bacteria, make an association with crop plants through forming nodules in their roots. For example, all Leguminaceae family members of give any example, some Leguminaceae family or Fabaceae family? Any plants? Some of the plants. Are you heard about the some of the plants related to Fabaceae?
Groundnut, sir.
Very good. Only groundnut. All pulses belongs to Fabaceae or groundnut. All pulses belongs to Fabaceae or Leguminaceae family. So these pulses are Leguminaceae family members. They present on the roots the and the globular structures we are observed, that is root nodules. So root nodules we are observed very normal, common phenomena by the these bacteria, that is Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria. So leguminosarum means all leguminaceae family members contain this Rhizobium leguminosarum bacteria. So this is a gram-positive bacteria, gram-positive bacteria, rod-shaped bacteria. So this bacteria is able to produce root nodules on roots of the all leguminaceae plants. So that's why those are Rhizobium, we can call it Rhizobium leguminosarum. This Rhizobium leguminosarum, fixation of the nitrogen with association with these roots of leguminaceae plants or host plants. Actually, how much percentage is present on the atmosphere among nitrogen? How much percentage?
72.
78% of the nitrogen present on the atmosphere. No, the largest amount of the gas in the entire atmosphere. So that is nitrogen. So nitrogen is in molecular state, that is N2 state. Molecular state, that is N2. It contains in the atmosphere 78%. Then afterwards, oxygen 21%. Oxygen. Okay, these are the major gases present on the atmosphere. So nitrogen is a gaseous substance which is in molecular state. 78% is present on the atmosphere. Why? Because this is most important, my dear friends. So nitrogen, without nitrogen, we are not able to sustain. We are not able to grow by day. We are not able to synthesize amino acids. We are not able to synthesize the proteins. We are not able to physiologically active. Why? Because there are no photosynthesis. There are no osmoregulatory process within the body. So that's why nitrogen is a very, very important substance, our living organism, not only human beings, all living organisms, my dear friends. So, but this nitrogen is a molecular state. This molecular state is not able to utilize all plants. Okay, these bacteria are symbiotic bacteria, non-symbiotic bacteria can able to modify this molecular nitrogen state into usable forms, that is nitrogen ions, whether the nitrates or nitrites or ammonia or ammonium ion. So these are the usable forms of the nitrogen, my dear friends. Okay, here this symbiotic bacteria is associated with leguminaceae plants roots, so that forming nodules on their roots. Then the second one is a free living bacteria, that is a non-symbiotic bacteria. They are not associated with any roots or any plants. They are only fixation with independently from the atmospheric nitrogen. Is it clear? Then we will move for next slide. Here, symbiotic nitrogen fixtures we are observed, that is the Rhizobium leguminosarum and Azospirillum. So Azospirillum, these are the two bacteria, very suitable example for the symbiotic bacteria with root nodules. Then Rhizobium leguminosarum, Rhizobium first established by 1889 by Frank, the scientist who discovered this Rhizobium associated with the roots in the Leguminaceae family. Then these plant roots are able to supply essential minerals and newly synthesized substance to the bacteria. Then bacteria modify the atmospheric nitrogen into usable forms produced in the fixation in the root nodules. So that's why this is the symbiotic association. This is one of the symbiotic association. Both the living organism can helpful by each organism from the host cell and even host plant and Rhizobium also. So this genus has 7 distinct species based on cross-inoculation group concept. So these are the seven groups. So these 7 groups, more than 20 cross-inoculations groups have been established. A new classification has been established for Rhizobium. So that's a slowly growing Rhizobia known as Brody Rhizobium. That is very, very slowly growing. Then another one is fast growing Rhizobia called Rhizobium. So these are the two classifications. One is Brody Rhizobium is slow growing organism. Rhizobium is fast growing organism. So that's why which culture is we are mainly used? Rhizobium culture. So Rhizobium cultures are very large amount of the Rhizobium cultures we are used. So this rhizobium can able to fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere for a hectare 50 to 300 kg. 300 kg means 3 quintals. 300 kg means 3 quintals of the nitrogen fixation of the nitrogen from atmosphere. Each and 1 hectare. 1 hectare, this rhizobium culture, whenever we are using this rhizobium culture, is able to fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen. How much of nitrogen, Amma? 50 to 300 kg per hectare. Okay. Then azospirillum. This is another symbiotic bacteria. This azospirillum is varies from the rhizobium, because of rhizobium is can able to produce or forming the nodules in the leguminous plants only. But this azospirillum can able to produce the roots non-leguminous plants, whether the millets or cereals or oil seeds or cottons, whatever it may be, cereals. Give any examples related to cereals, Amma? Give any examples related to cereals. Anybody? No?
Bajra, ragi.
Bajra related to millets, Amma, not cereals. Paddy, wheat, jawar, paddy, wheat, jawar. So very good. These are related to cereals. Then millets, you know, millets. Korralu, andu korralu, sajjalu, ragulu, even cheppuntaru chusinar. So these are related to millets, you know. So these are related to millets. Then oil seeds. Oil seeds. So oil seeds are very good. Sunflower, not only sunflower, oil palm, sunflower, and Ricinus communis, castor. Okay, so these are plants associated with the azospirillum. Even the cotton. What is the scientific name of cotton, Amma? Cotton. Gossypium, herbaceum, and Gossypium hirsutum. So these are the scientific name of cotton, you know. So these azospirillum related to non-leguminous plants. So these are able to produce the root nodules, non-leguminous plants, especially cereals and other members related to millets and oilseeds and cottons. And this azospirillum can able to fix the nitrogen from the atmosphere 20 to 40 kg per hectare. Okay, in the rhizosphere of the non-leguminous plants. And the considerable quantity of the nitrogen fertilizers up to 25 to 30% can be saved by the use of azospirillum inoculates. Whenever the farmers use these azospirillum cultures, they are saved the 25 to 30% of the fertilizers from the external environment. Okay, then these species have been commercially exploited for the use as nitrogen supplying biofertilizers. These are the 2 species. Number one, Rhizobium leguminosarum. Number 2, azospirillum. Okay. Azospirillum. Then we will move to next slide, Amma. Is there any doubt?
No, sir.
Are you feel bored?
No,
Are
sir.
you feel bored?
No, sir.
This is very easy topic, Amma. Very easy topic. That's why you don't feel bored. Oh, some other topic you feel bored, but you doesn't express your view. But my dear friends, you are frankly say whether you are understood or not. I will ready to explain once again. We will move to next slide, Amma. Then free living bacteria. So earlier slide we are discussed about the symbiotic nitrogen fixtures, that is Rhizobium leguminosarum and azospirillum. Then free living bacteria. These free living bacteria means they are not associated with any living organism, not associated with any host plants. So this is able to grow independently and fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. They are azotobacter, azotobacter, and Klebsiella, azotobacter and Klebsiella. So it will not associate with any plant. Then azotobacter is a biofertilizer which provides the required amount of nitrogen to the plant from the soil. Okay. Then the azotobacter is a heterotrophic free-living nitrogen fixing bacteria present in alkaline and a neutral soil. Amma heard about term autotrophic and heterotrophic?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So can you define what is autotrophic and what is heterotrophic?
Autotrophic
What
means
is
they
autotrophic
prepare
and
their own food, sir.
Autotrophic means prepares own food.
Autotrophic which
Heterotropic
depends
upon others.
depend
on other organs.
oh, very nice response, Amma. Very good. So this huge response, I'm very happy. Though autotrophic means the plants they are able to fixation, they are able to synthesize their own food material. So that's why all plants are autotrophic, you know. So heterotrophic means these bacteria, these organism not able to synthesize their own food material. They are dependent. They are dependent on whether the organic or inorganic substance. So that's why azotobacter is an heterotrophic. And also this azotobacter is a free-living nitrogen fixing bacteria. Okay, then these mostly occurring species in arable soils of India. So this azotobacter is occurred in only arable soils. Apart from its ability to fix atmospheric nitrogen in soils, it can also synthesize growth promoting substances like auxins and gibberellins. Are you heard about these two plant hormones, Amma? Auxins and gibberellins.
yes.
These are the growth promoting hormones, you know. Growth promoting hormones, auxins and gibberellins. So these two hormones are very useful for the growth and development of the plant, Sama. Okay, so these auxins and gibberellins also synthesized by using of this azotobacter, my dear friends. That's why the azotobacter is very important free-living nitrogen fixers. Okay, and also along with this growth promoting hormones, some of the vitamins also synthesized by this azotobacter. Okay, already Rajni madam has sent some of the information related to these vitamins. Without vitamin B complexes, vitamin B complex, we are observed groundnut. Are you observed any groundnut seed or groundnut fruit? Groundnut fruit.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Groundnut. సో దిస్ గ్రౌండ్నట్ ఫ్రూట్ మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేసినప్పుడు అక్కడ మీరు సొట్టబోయి ఉంటుంది చూసినారు, అందులో దేర్ ఆర్ నాట్ ఏబుల్ టు వీఆర్ అబ్జర్వ్ ఓన్లీ సీడ్ ఉండదు, కేవలం అది సొట్టబోయి ఉంటుంది అనమాట. సో దట్ ఈస్ మెయిన్లీ కాస్డ్ బై ద డెఫిషియన్సీ ఆఫ్ దిస్ విటమిన్ బి కాంప్లెక్స్. సో విటమిన్ బి కాంప్లెక్స్ ఈస్ ఆల్సో is very important factor for the forming of the seeds inside the fruit. Madam yesterday sent this related information. Yesterday 9:30 madam has sent me hollow heart in groundnut occurs due to vitamin B deficiency. So some extent of this vitamin deficiency, the fruits also does not contain any seeds inside the fruit. So the best example of this vitamin B deficiency, the hollow space we are observed inside the groundnut fruit. Okay, thank you madam. And the many stems
Sir, voice is not audible. Yes, sir. Sir.
Okay, this slide is visible, Amma?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry, Amma, my professor is calling. That's why. Okay, the many strains of Azotobacter also exhibit fungicidal properties. So actually, fungus, some of the infected fungus also grown inside the soil, Amma. So not only the bacteria and other pathogens, fungal spores and fungal parts also infect the rhizosphere of the higher plants. So that's why these Azotobacter is also exhibit fungicidal properties against certain species of fungus. Okay, so the response of this Azotobacter has been seen in rice, maize, cotton, sugarcane, pearl millet, and vegetable and some plantation crops also. So these crops are survived by the use of this Azotobacter culture summer from the fungus. So different harmful fungus, they are grown inside the soil. That's why this whenever we are use these Azotobacter cultures, the fungus is not able to grow inside the surrounded of the surrounds of the rhizosphere. Okay, Rainder. Jagityal. Okay, right. Then it improves seed germination and plant growth. So why it is improved seed germination and plant growth? Can anybody tell? Why Azotobacter is able to not only fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen, and it will improve the seed germination and plant growth. How? Why? Anybody can tell? Why? Because so you studied this slide. Very good, Amma, very good. So that's why this by the synthesis of this growth promoting hormones, these growth promoting hormones is able to the germination of the seed and also the utilizing of the plant growth. So the seed germination responsible hormone is anybody? Which hormone is? No, only gibberellins. So gibberellins is able to germinate. Seed germination process is mainly caused by gibberellins, my dear friends. So that's why this plant hormones is also synthesized by this Azotobacter. So Azotobacter is very important related to the crop plants of the farmers, and even though plantation plants are. So what are the plantation crops? Are you heard about the term plantation crops? What are the plantations? So mango, lemon, is it right? Citrus plants and guava. So these are the plantation crops, and some of the woody plants, teak, okay, rosewood. So these are the plants are able to survive and rapidly grow by the use of these Azotobacter cultures. And my dear friends, the Azotobacter is heaviest breathing organism and requires a large amount of organic carbon for its growth, my dear friends. So that's why the Azotobacter is very used for the cultivation crops. And these are the mass production of this Azotobacter and Rhizobium also, isolated from the bacterial cultures or subcultures into nutrient both, and cultures were grown under shaking conditions. So these conditions of the 30 to 32 degrees Celsius temperature, that is the under the controlled condition, these cultures are very reach maximum growth, the population of this Azotobacter and Rhizobium cultures, Rhizobium cells from 10 to the power of 10 to 10 to the power of 11. Under optimum condition of the population level could be attained within 4 to 5 days, the Rhizobium 5 to 7 days, for Azospirillum 6 to 7 days for Azotobacter. So Rhizobium for 4 to 5 days, Rhizobium for 5 to 7 days, and Azospirillum for 6 to 7 days. 6 to 7 days for Azotobacter, Rhizobium for 4 to 5 days, and 5 to 7 days for Azospirillum. So in these between these days, this optimum development of these cultures, and the culture obtained from the flask is called starter culture. So this is very, very important for mass production of this Azospirillum, Rhizobium leguminosarum, and Azotobacter. So this is the preparation, how to culture this Azotobacterium, Rhizobium, and Azospirillum. So this is the method, and how to carry it for from one place to another place for this cultures, and which type of bags are used for these cultures. And one of the important other organism, that is vesicular, albascular mycorrhiza. Okay, so this is, we can call as mycorrhizal. So mycorrhiza associated with the roots are associated with fungi. Higher plants are associated with fungi. So this we can call as mycorrhiza. So what is the meaning of this mycorrhiza? So mycorrhiza is derived from the Greek word, Greek language. So that means fungus root. This term has given by Frank in 1885. Mycorrhiza, 1885. The mycorrhiza is mutualistic association between fungal mycelia and plant roots. So worm is an endophytic, live inside the mycorrhiza formed by accepted Phycomycetes fungi. Phycomycetes fungi. So worm help in nutrient transfer, mainly of phosphorus, zinc, and sulfur. So these are the nutrients. So phosphorus nutrient, phosphorus, zinc, and sulfur. These are the nutrients and minerals, especially transfer from the inside the roots and inside the plant body. This mycorrhiza is the symbiotic association between plant roots and soil fungus. Of the 7 types of the mycorrhiza, the worm plays a great role in inducing plant growth. Worm are symbiotic endophytic soil fungi which colonize the roots of approximately 80% of the plants. So remaining 20% only SM fungi, but worm fungi only associated with the higher plants, 80% of the plants. So 80% of the plant roots associated with these colonies related to worm fungi, vesicular, arbuscular, mycorrhizal fungi. So this worm hyphae also help is retaining moisture around the root zone of the plants. It increases the resistance to root-borne or soil-borne pathogen along with the nematodes also. Nematode means the invertebrates of the animals are related to. Are you heard about the term Nemati helminthes? Nemati helminthes, Platyhelminthes and Nemati helminthes. These are the nematode. These are the pathogens of the related to Nemati helminthes pathogens. These are grown inside the soil and it is very, very dangerous to the roots. Whenever it infects the roots or eat the root, the complete plant is going to dry. Okay, that is dead by the infection of these nematodes. So the nematodes are infect the roots. These nematodes are controlled by this mycorrhiza, my dear friend. This mycorrhiza, whenever this mycorrhiza associated with the roots, this nematode is not able to infect the roots. So this is most important. See here how these vesicles and herbesicles are produced inside the roots of the higher plants. So these this slide is visible, Amma? So this is external hyphae. This is external hyphae. This hyphae related to the thallus of the fungi, and this hyphae whenever enter into the inside the root sphere or internal structure of the root, then it will produce the vesicle. The globular structures are called vesicles, and the tubular structures we can call as arbuscles. So these arbuscles and vesicles are useful for the making of the different nutrients, the transfer of the nutrients, and also the fixation of the nitrogen from the atmosphere. So here the copper, potassium, aluminum, manganese, and iron, magnesium. So these are the nutrients transfer from the roots to different parts of the plants. And also these vesicles is also used for the storage of the different nutrients. Okay, then herbacicles for funneling them into root system, funneling into root system. So what is the mechanism of this VAM? What is the mechanism of this VAM action? So this VAM forms an association with the plant roots and it penetrates the root cortex and spread around the roots of the plants. So from the cortex from the outer membrane of the cell wall or plasma membrane of the epidermis, from epidermis of the root to cortex, and very nearer to the xylem or vascular system. As the name indicates, they possess sac-like structure called vesicles, which store phosphorus and phospholipids. So these are the nutrients which are useful for the plant growth. Then other structure called herbacicles. Herbacicles helps bringing the distant nutrients to the vesicles and roots. Okay, that is herbacicles. Okay, then how to produce the mass production of this VAM? So these are the steps involving for the mass production of the VAM. Okay. Then what are the uses of this VAM? So this VAM enhances the feeding area of the plant root is as the hyphae spread around the roots and mobilize the nutrients from distance to root. So from root to different parts of the plant is able to transfer the different nutrients like magnesium, copper, sulfur, okay, etc. Then and some of the nutrients are those stored inside the roots that is soluble phosphorus. And very important is the toxical substances. The mainly phenolic substances are removed from the root sphere or from the plants. So this is most important point, my dear friends. And also this VAM is helpful for provide protection against other fungi and nematodes also. So another pathogenic fungi and another pathogens nematodes is able to infect the plants roots. So whenever this VAM is inside the roots or associated with the roots, these infected the pathogenic fungi and nematodes is not able to grow inside the roots and even the root sphere and surrounds of the roots. Okay, so this is protect against from fungi and nematodes by the use of this VAM, and it will increase the growth rate of the plants in some of the crop plants like citrus, maize, wheat, and it reduces sensitivity, reduce sensitivity of crop towards high level of soils and heavy metals, my dear friends. So some of the heavy metals is inside the soil, the plants is not able to grow very easily. So that's why this VAM is reduced the sensitivity of the crops toward the high level soils. Whenever the using of this VAM, even though heavy metals are present in the soil, the plants is very easily to grow. And algae, especially blue-green algae, so they are contained the special type of cells among the vegetative cells, that cells we can call as heterocysts. So these heterocysts contained in blue-green algae, it will able to fixation of the atmospheric nitrogen into the heterocyst or some of the other living organisms. So they are Anabaena, Nostoc, Oscillatoria. So these living organisms, these three types of organism can able to fix the atmospheric nitrogen into the soil. So these are compared to cheap compared to any other inoculum, other living any other nitrogen fixers. So the very lowest cost for each 10 kg may be 30 to 40 rupees cost only. So that's why the high beneficiary of this crop plants by the use of this blue-green algae used as a biofertilizers. Then other biofertilizer, that is azolla. Azolla is a aquatic fern, pteridophytic plant which is grown on the surface of the water and having this Anabaena